So, guys, welcome to our Accelerate session. First one for the year. I'm really excited to be interviewing Joe Sprange today from Vision Personal Training in Mosman. Welcome to the call.
Thanks, Steve.
So, this is my favourite session of the month. So we interview a successful member, someone that's part of Gym Hub, that's owns a gym themselves and is kind of on the tools. And I love just finding out like what makes you tick and what's working for you. I think we can sort of learn a lot as gym owners by hearing from other gym owners. So give us a little bit of insight. Tell us a bit about your gym and who do you help?
Yep. So we're in Mosman, which is on the North Shore in Sydney. Our studio, I've got 10 trainers. We've got a studio that's about 250 square meters. We do sort of in the lead up to Christmas, we're probably peaking at about 350 PT sessions a week. We're not back there yet. In Mosman, we probably would describe the demographic as sort of older families with some, predominantly, professional people. Our clients would probably average somewhere between 40 and 60. That's kind of who we are. We do personal training and that's all we do. And we're very focused on that.
So when you say you're doing 350 sessions pre-Christmas, how long are those sessions?
So we do 30-minute sessions. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned that your clientele tend to be aged like 40 to 60. What types of things do you help them with generally? What do they come in for?
Predominantly weight loss, but I think the thing in Mosman is we don't have the demographic. We don't have reams of people that need to lose 20 or 30 kilos. We have a lot of people that want to lose 5 or 10 kilos. We have everything from, professionals that want to train at 5:30 in the morning so they can get into the office or in front of the computer to work from home to, mothers. We've probably got a decent sort of little sort of pocket of clients that are sort of like retirees and semi-retirees who are a little bit older. But we do everything from helping people lose weight to running marathons to, you want to get their bench press better. We do a very broad range of thing, and each trainer of ours has got a different sort of niche or skill that they sort of would specialize in.
Yeah, what's an example of a skill that a trainer has in your team?
Oh, I speak on behalf of me as a personal trainer and probably, one or two others. I love running. I love taking people from, I don't think I can run, to running marathons. And, we'll have probably 6 or 8 clients do UTA in the Blue Mountains this year in some shape or form. And we've got clients there who joined us 5 years ago and hadn't run a 5K fun run and are now running 50-kilometre ultra marathons. That's really good. That's what I really like. But then we've got other trainers who are, I've got a trainer who's, he's an elite amateur rugby league player, if you like. And, he gets, guys who are in the corporate world to get their bench press to 100 kilos kind of thing.
Jesse?
Yeah, it's Jesse. Exactly.
He's a big dude, if my goal is to go into it's kind of cool, if my goal is to go into the gym and actually learn about hypertrophy or muscle gain or something, it's kind of nice to have the option of choosing a trainer that's got some size about him himself.
Definitely. Yeah, no, definitely.
You've been part of the Gym Hub program for a little while now. What are some of the results or milestones you more recently have been able to start using or ticking off?
I think there's a lot of things. I think the key thing for me was always to get my marketing more efficient and have a more diversified, way in which I got leads. And then if something wasn't working, the ability to fix it. So I think the program's really awesome for that. I've really got on board with Facebook ads and mostly successfully, but definitely been unsuccessful at times. I'm definitely a lot more structured with my marketing. think one of the challenges in a franchise is that you get a very like a party line view about how to do things. And the thing I like about this program is it's very open-minded and a lot of diverse ideas. So they're the things that, you know, I get from the program that I really like. I think outcomes for me is like, it's like COVID, surviving, it's the bounce back, it's the fact that, you know, now we're looking to, you know, have a more successful year than we have had otherwise because we have these skills. You know,
let me jump in there for a second. So I think my notes here, I've got you written down as during COVID, obviously the studio was closed in Sydney like 3 months or something like that. You were doing outdoor personal training, but still managed to keep some cash flow there. Over 10 grand of PT.
Yeah, so we basically our weekly debit, if you know, baseline was $20,000, and you know, COVID hit, and very quickly that went in half, and we did mostly outdoors, but a little bit online. And we managed to keep all the trainers employed, and then we sort of averaged about 10K through that period. And we fell just slightly short by Christmas, but our goal was to get a full bounce back before Christmas. We're about $800, $1,000 short in the end. But that's still like we're looking at doubling our revenue from June to like effectively the end of November, which I was pretty happy with. And my tendency is to set quite optimistic and ambitious goals, and sometimes I fall a little bit short. But that's kind of how COVID went for us.
Coming back from Christmas, how are you finding it? Are you sort of similar to like November numbers, or are you working back towards that?
I think we will. We find that the first full week after everybody's back at school, which is kind of funny this year because normally it would be next week, but I think there are still kids who are starting school that are going back for the first time next week, is one of our biggest weeks of the year in terms of PT session numbers. And we're almost there. We're at about 80-90% back. You know, this Australia Day week's a bit funny, but yeah, like I expect us debit wise and session wise to be pretty close in that. I think it'd be the second week in February now to where we were pre-Christmas. And we've definitely had a reasonably good January in terms of acquisition. It was sort of busy early and has come strong towards the end.
So good, Joe. I think we're all sort of given 24 hours notice to close our gyms. And everyone took a hit, but to keep 50% of your direct debits coming through, to still be taking 10 grand a week in billing with all that sort of uncertainty, particularly with an older demographic, which might be higher risk or a little bit more concern. I think you've done well, and back to sort of pre-COVID numbers or within $800. That's excellent.
Yeah, no, we're very happy with ourselves.
I noticed you mentioned before that you're sort of using Facebook, even before some of the guys jumped on the call. We were just chatting, and you said that you sometimes spend a bit of time each week logging in. What types of things do you look to try and tweak in a Facebook campaign?
So what I'm looking at, you know, in Facebook is looking at stuff that's not delivering and not getting the response that I'm after. Like my experience so far is that selling PT on Facebook is quite hard, and it's more expensive than it might be doing other things. So I'm really looking if I'm not getting leads at sort of about the $200 mark or cheaper, that the campaign needs tweaking. And it normally comes back to like the retail fundamentals, and it's stuff Steve says all the time. And I think sometimes you've got to look at it 3 times to get it through. But is your message really clear? Is the offer coming up? Is it compelling to the people that you're communicating it to? I do think it's hard with Facebook because I think sometimes you need to give your campaigns a little bit of runway. But yeah, so it's just making sure copy's clear. Could you be using images that more reflect the audience that you're targeting? Like one of the things I want to do this year is actually get more images of my clients, my trainers in my studio. You know, we use a lot as a franchise that are provided to us by head office, or stock images and things like that. So that's, you know, so it's tweaking things like that. I've recently made a little thing. I was getting a bit frustrated that we're getting lead forms from people that felt like they hadn't seen the ad. So we just put a little question in, which is, what's your number one health and fitness priority? And given people like 3 options of things to tick in there, which just gives us a little bit of qualification that's been helpful. So they're the sort of things that you know, I'd tweak.
Yeah, it's good. I think I think you're exactly right when it comes to you've just got to budget a little bit more for personal training leads. It's just if you look at the general population, I think they estimate around 14% of Australians have a gym membership, something similar in New Zealand, and it's of that percentage, not everyone will spend $200 a week for personal training. So as you go up the funnel in terms of the higher spend, there's probably less buyers. Therefore, it becomes even more important to make your ads count and to, you gave the example how you can get resources from your franchise company. However, it's often like people often want to see local faces. They want to see like original content and original videos and great. Like I know you've been reluctant to use videos in the past, but you're now using videos. Tell me a little bit about that process for anyone that's maybe still slow on that. I know you've had some of your team involved as well.
Yeah, the thing for me is I think deep down as a small business owner, you're often a perfectionist. And I think the thing that held me back is I wanted the perfect video and the perfect topic and all that sort of stuff. And I think, something that Steve's instilled in me, and it just works. You just got to get something up there. And if you say or you stumble on a word or whatever, it's not the end of the world. And that if you look at the results, like I did this thing in COVID where I did a Facebook Live with the kids, like a PT with Joe that went on viral on things. The local public school that we work with said, can you do a workout for the kids on a Monday morning at 9:30 that the kids can do home Facebook Live? Yep, sure. So this 20-minute workout on Facebook. Mate, I'd spend $10 boosting it. I was getting like 8,000 people watching the first 3 seconds of the video. And I'm like, that's got my logo in it. It's got my face in it. This is brilliant. And I would start there going, hey kids, how you going? It's just, and then this year I've done a video every single week. The first one was, let's come to one of our group sessions this week. And, I was getting a, cost per click of like 30, 40 cents to our website. And, I spent $20 on it. And that was just really simple stuff. Happy New Year, guys. Great to see everyone back in the gym. Done. I
love that. Because it's easy just to think about the outcome. Like at the end of the day, I guess you're probably looking for someone to come in and buy a membership. But if you just go straight for the throat every single time, people are like, who's this dude? Like I've seen so many ads today of like, do a challenge or whatever. Get fit for summer. So if you can actually go out with some value, if you can actually be like, if they can understand and your brand and consider you a bit of an expert, that's then the group that you want to sort of warm up and start to retarget with offers. So I think you've done really well there to find something which gets you some really good organic or just low cost views. Well done. I know because of COVID you had to adjust the mini Moss, so it's like a fun run type thing you do in your local area. But you weren't able to actually get there and take your whole staff and your members there last year. What was your alternative because of COVID?
So they did a virtual event where they put all the signposts for the fun run on the street, and they have a little 2K kids race that they put on a sort of outside track of a local oval so everyone could do it. So we did a lot of stuff. Like I ran with clients as much as I possibly could. Like pacing them. We also, the kids' classes did their own race. So like 1B would go up on a Saturday afternoon. So I'd go up there and do that. I did a really good thing that proved to be very helpful. I did an Instagram takeover, and that was where you sort of do a day in the life of you. It literally took me one day, it took me about 4.5 hours to do this thing. Crazy. Okay. But I was like, here's the breakfast I eat, and this is why I eat my breakfast. This is the training session I do. Here's my running shoes. I'm going to pick up my son from school, all this sort of stuff. But it really, people were calling me going, tell me about that yogurt that you eat. You eat that Yo Pro yogurt. Why do you eat that one? And all this sort of stuff. And that was really good. So it became much more powerful on social media, and it expanded its reach because it was a month long rather than being this one epic day. But that was a good thing. And I was doing things like I was running the 2K with clients' kids and helping them get a PB, and they'd post a photo of me and their son on Facebook going, thanks for helping Harry get his PB, Joey, so it just meant it was different. It's
so clever because if you can connect with a school, or if you can add value somehow. It's usually those parents that are 50 that have got some cash to come in and be personal training clients. So it's a bit of a Trojan horse sort of approach.
Completely.
You get an introduction through a school or a fun run or something like that, and then all of a sudden you're in front of a corporate that comes in and does PT a couple of times a week.
Yeah, no, completely.
Very good. Hey, guys that are on the call, I'm interested to know from our opening sort of couple of questions, something you've taken away so far. So our focus today is largely around personal training, selling premium, and Joe shared a couple of wins he's had as part of the Gym Hub program recently. Is there something you've heard that you're a little bit more interested to find out more about on today's call? What's something you've sort of scribbled down on a piece of paper in front of you that's useful so far? Go into the chat for me. Some of you guys don't run like a personal training studio, but might be interested to run Facebook ads for your own model, or you might be interested in, understanding how to engage the public like Joe's been doing. Keegan says, managing the gym with the other trainers, what would your big 3 tips to start and maintain for them to be? I am managing the gym with other trainers. What would be your tips to start and maintain for them? Shine, are you able to put Keegan's audio on just for a second? Keegan's the manager for 9 Round, but also Snap Fitness in Nelson in New Zealand. Keegan, are you able to just explain your question a little bit more? What are you hoping to ask Joe?
Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to punch it out quickly.
You're right.
Yeah, so we've got a big restructure basically going through with new owners, myself being new management, and bringing in new trainers. We've got sort of 4 options. Sorry, I got to wait for the ambulance to go through.
I thought the cops were after you then, because it is an ambulance.
Yeah, so we're looking at finding trainers in our area is quite hard. And I'm sort of working on 2 at the moment who have got a bit of experience. We've got 4 ways that as the gym we can feed them leads, and we've got 2 ways that they can sort of create their own. But what I want for them is to come in and be successful early. Obviously that's good for everyone involved. So From someone who's been quite experienced, what would your, 1, 3, 5 main points be for a trainer? Say, ignore all of the mumbo jumbo and the terrible advice. These are probably the 3 big rocks to focus on at the start and through your first year, 2 years.
Yeah.
Such a good question. Get your pens ready, guys, because this is all about recruitment. And if you get this right, not only can you grow, but you can also do a little bit less on the tools yourself. What do you got for me, Joe?
I think there's a couple of things I'd say in an environment like that. Like, firstly, I think you've got to make sure you're picking the right trainers and be patient with that. It's so tempting to pick when you need people to pick the wrong people, and I think you've got to have a plan about what is the ideal trainer. I think once you've got them in terms of maintaining, I think it's a couple. There's probably 2 things that I'd say that if you want to have a successful business for a while, is you've got to get the trainers to really focus on delivering what the client wants. Now, in most cases, that's a good result, but I don't think it's always the result. You do get the clients that want to come to the gym and chat to you, have a really nice conversation, and not smash it out. Like we've probably got 30 or 40 clients that have been in our studio for 10 years plus that have not lost a kilo and love their trainer, but getting them a good outcome. And then I think you've got to look at how your team interacts. Like, one of the things that's really different about our environment to a lot of other fitness environments is, as a team, we collaborate. And because I employ all of our trainers, it's not like a, standard big box environment where they're all renting space and, someone else's client could be their client. And that's where I think you've got to look at all the culture building things, like, making sure you regularly go out for a beer with your trainers, maybe you train together, and that you're all collaborating, and that is a good process. Maybe it's a weekly team meeting where you talk about what's happening that week or things that could be improved. That sort of stuff I think is really important. And I think the other thing that will come down there is like development of those trainers. And that's like having a development plan for them, performance reviews, and whether it's whatever the structure is, that would change in what you need from them. But I think those are the big things. And I think if trainers do a good job and make their clients really happy, you won't have a client problem, because not only the clients they have will stay, is they'll naturally refer new clients for you.
So good. I've just written down 5. So quick recap. Number 1, what's the outcome that they came for? So even if it's not fat loss, they don't have to get fat loss if that's not what